Welcome back to Tactics Talk with Guido. Thanks for tuning in. I have a two-pack here, and we're going to talk about behemoth takedowns. I talk about how you take down the big fatties of the game, the guys with the big guns and a lot of armor. How you go about that as a team, how you go about that as an individual tank. You can see I've loaded into my T55A. I'm in a 357 middle tier, and we are here on Steeps. Yes, I said Steeps, and you can see that I've pushed over here to the west side. I actually like fighting on the west side. The meta is the east side. This is one of the few maps where I will often go to the non-meta side. You can see we have a whole stack of guys going over there to the east side. Nice thing about the east side is it's a little bit more open. It doesn't get as stagnated. If you win, you can easily get back. It's hard to escape from where I am right here. But you can be very effective over here on the west side if you get a little support. And you can see I've got the Miles and the 110E4 and an IS something or other, whatever it is, 3 moving up. In a fast medium like I have, I can actually get to these rocks, and there's a bush back here that I love to use. Now I fully expect the Type 4 to move on in here. But if he comes with not a lot of support, and based on what I've got coming with me, I feel like I can have a pretty good day against him. 55A is a great little tank. Maybe not quite as good as the T54, but you've got to win the tank, which is cool. And it's got cool armor. Not armor, cool camo. I suppose its armor's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. You can see that the battle is engaged over on the east side, and I'm waiting for some support here on the west side. I'm not going to push forward. I like to use this bush initially. I know that there's going to be some heavies, but they don't show up for a while, so I say, okay, let's get up here a little bit and see if we can't throw some heat through this guy, and I'm able to pop him quickly. That gets me spotted, clearly. I don't want to pop right away because I know that IS-3 is looking right at where I am. Probably the Type 5. He might be able to get his turret there. I'd love to pop out and hit that Type 5 in the turret while he's not looking at me. But I know the IS-3 is there, so I don't want to trade those hit points. I'm going to be a little bit patient while my mouse gets up and starts to support us from back on that side. Take a peek there. You do have to watch out for Artie on this spot where I am. If you come around the corner too much, they can splash the crap out of you. And they've got an E75. So we have a bit of an overmatch here, actually, based on the tanks we have. It'd be nice if the 110E4 was a little bit further forward, but he is supporting there. And now we get to the takedown part. The Type 5 just saw me. I don't want to pop out because he's looking right at me. But he has a very slow reload, and he's not able to get away very quickly. So I'm just going to be a little bit patient here. It looks like I've got somebody coming up, and look at him. He just looked away. And that is example number 1 of how you start to abuse heavies with mediums in the heavy brawling area. Look for opportunities where they're not looking, where they're not paying attention. Now he's fired. So I put one into his turret when he was not looking. He fired, and that thing's reload is really, really slow. Now he's not looking at me again. I'll put it up in the turret. And that makes me feel like, you know what, his turret's so slow that he just fired again as well, that I'm going to be able to come around, put another shot on him, and take him down. And there you go. A tank that I should not have been able to abuse like that with a little bit of teamwork. Take a snap on the E75. A little bit of teamwork and timing and understanding of reloads and armor layouts and the ammo I'm firing. All that stuff put together makes a fairly easy takedown on what was an admittedly not very good Type 5 driver. And now we're going to come in here, and I overexpose here to get a shot on the E75 and end up eating one. Not a great trade. He fired, so I'm going to go at him. I know I've got the support coming in, and down he goes. Notice that his turret was following me. That's something to think about. Oftentimes, if you push around with a medium and there's a heavy on a reload, he'll point his turret towards you because he wants to reload and get you so you can't get around him. That's going to afford all kinds of opportunity for the guys behind you to come in and take free shots, especially potentially on the side of the guy's turret. So you've created a weak spot by pushing. So now I'm exploiting the breakthrough, essentially, in a medium. We've pushed through that flank. And I'm exploiting. How many times can I say that wrong? This flank. So our guys did a decent job over on the east side. Did I call that the west side earlier? I may have called it the west side. The right side of the map, relative to us. They've done a nice job holding it. They're going to lose, it looks like. But we need to clean up the campers. Now this is the next part of the Behemoth takedown. Obviously with casemate TDs and a medium, that's why I came along the side of the railroads right there. I knew the guys would support me from where they are because that's where they were headed. And I was just creating another angle for this tortoise to have to deal with. I'm lucky that the mediums did not come around from behind me, but they were still busy with our guys. I noted that, and now we're starting to take this guy down. Notice that I maintain my separation from him. He's not fast enough to spin and get me. And the further away I am, the more opportunity I have to aim in at good spots. There are reasons for getting really close to the TD, especially if it spins quickly. That's one reason to get close in. Or maybe you would just want to try to slow it down as it's trying to get away. You might want to scrape against it or push against it. In that case, though, based on I had two tanks really just pounding him from one side and I was on the other, I wanted to maintain a little distance from that guy. And he was not going to be fast enough to spin around on me, especially facing three guys. So now I'm just carefully moving forward. I checked right there on what my buddies were doing, and I noticed they were coming up. I'll jink right to try to keep some of the terrain, but he's just coming at me. And he gets nuked by the guys back there behind me. I'll keep on pushing. There's the E50. There's only two left. Probably the ST1 is still way over there. They're not very fast. So I see him. I'll come along here. I know that this little ridge in front of me ends right as it goes down the hill. That's going to afford me the opportunity right here to take some hold down shots, just exposing my turret right into the back of the E50. Thank you very much. That's one into his engine area. Let's see what else I can do here. That's two into his engine area, and he starts to burn. Unfortunately, he doesn't burn enough, or he repairs it, and I can't quite get that last shot on him. Now we'll move forward. So 4,818 damage, 382 assist damage. There goes the whatever that is, the E50. And our guys cap for some bizarre reason. They don't want to chase down the ST1. So a couple good examples of heavy takedowns. When you start facing these really super heavies or heavily armored tanks like the Tortoise, getting around them, using their own bad timing on their reloads against them, using multiple angles where they have to turn their turrets against them. All of those things are what you need to learn how to do for a heavy or behemoth takedown. I've got one more example for you. We'll move on to that. Alright, here is our second example, and this time it's with a heavy. I'm in a low tier 8 premium German tank in a 357 bottom tier with tier 10s involved. Now there's another type 5 heavy involved in this battle. Now this actually developed strangely. It's an Abbey game, and you can see that I'm over on the 1-2 line on the west side. But they didn't really show up with any force right here. I fully expect the Type 5 to be over here, but he's not here yet, and he is a little slow. I didn't show it to you yet. I did futz around a little bit north of here, back behind me. I sort of looked down the low road for a while, and then I came up high, and then I noticed our T-44 just pushed right through. And they've got a low over on the other side there. The Leopard PTA is in front of the 44. But since no one showed up on that corner, I just said, all right, well, let's get aggressive and push forward. Sometimes you've just got to read the battle and say, all right, this is developing not in a meta way. This is an advantage for me. Let's go ahead and see if we can't get up here and take that advantage. And strangely enough, the Type 5 Heavy is hanging out down in that bottom corner right there. So right off the bat, I can assume he's probably not really a very good player. We have a decent amount of tanks coming up. He's hanging there. I look that way because I know there's a Leopard and something else that went that way, but they looked like they were running away. I think they felt like they were being pushed hard. You'll notice that my E100 is on the 8-9 line, which seemed very odd to me. Again, like I said, this is a non-meta game, and it develops and ends very strangely. Well, the end is a raffle stomp, but at least the development in the middle of it's odd. And the E100 ends up doing quite a bit of damage over there. But like I said, you just take advantage of these strange situations. So let's get down to the heavy takedown part that we're going to concentrate here. I push up on this guy with my low. I go to gold because I know I'm going to need it against that Type 5. I have in a mill, an E75. Somebody's telling me to fall back, but there's no reason for that. The T32 is coming up, and the T50, 5150 is back there as well, TVP. The Type 5's got a buddy. He's got a KV4 with him. So on a heavy takedown like this, one of the best things you can do, especially when you start swarming, is take care of all his support right off the bat. He's a very slow reload. Let's see how it goes down. But if you can get rid of his support, the faster reloading tank, then you can concentrate on the big guy. So he shoots that dude, I pop out, shoot him, and now we're starting to concentrate, and the T-50-51 does exactly what a medium should do, and that's what I did in the last game. Both those guys fired, and he has an opportunity with a full clip to get around behind him and drag us with him. So I see that going on. I'm like, right on, brother, let's take down the KV-4. A little bit of back. Neither one of them is looking at me, so it's time to get in there and help this guy take these dudes down. The KV-4 does a nice job using this guy as armor. It takes me a minute to get my tank around on him and get him dead, but there he goes. And now we start to surround the Type 5 Heavy. Nice job on the track. I stop right there because I don't want to ram my own 50-51, even though that's going to cost me probably getting shot at. He really wants to take down the 50-51. He knows that that guy's reloads. He's got big trouble. The Type 5 carries a lot of ammo in the side right there, kind of high on the side. See how that side, it's got a big billboard on the side, but it's got a higher section. That's kind of its ammo rack, or one of them right there. But I'm shooting back into the engine, hoping to get some kind of fire. But this is pretty classic. The TVP buggers off because he's reloading. I take a hit, that's fine. Getting in the T-32's way a little bit, he and mine. Flap him. He's tracked again, so another nice job. I think I did that potentially there. Now he's moving, and I'm going to shoot too low. That's too low. No damage. I get smarter here, though, as I reload. Right a little higher where that ammo rack is, and since he's taken a couple hits there, more than likely it was damaged, and I'm able to ammo rack him. Too bad I didn't do that the shot before. I might have actually got it earlier. It's possible the shot before that was a crit into the ammo rack. I didn't notice what it was down below there. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's going on. But in any event, we end up on a pretty classic takedown of one of the super heavies right there. So a lot of people are very inclined to sit there and poke and prod and play punchy face, and that is playing right into the strengths of a Type 5. He wants you to hang out back there and let him reload, poke out, bounce off his armor, and be relatively useless. But if you go around him, or things like E100s and MAUs and things like that, you're going to have a much better time, especially with buddies taking that dude down. This illustrates, at the end of this game, another thing I talk about quite a bit, which is just keep driving, man. Just keep swimming. You might get some more hit points. I just kept driving my slow right up there until I got a shot. And then here's another example. This guy, another shot. So I get another 200, 300 hit points, 281. And I won't get any more out of this. The T-32 ends up driving in front of me again. We spent a lot of the game getting in each other's way. You can see it was a raffle stunt, but the point of that really is just taking a look on how do I deal with the super heavies. People say, well, you flank them. Well, that's true, but how? What does that look like? Well, that example is what it looks like. Even in a heavy, nice job on the 50-51. I saw what he was doing, took advantage of it. More guys drug along in there with us, and we pretty easily schwacked that guy. Obviously, this team has been raffle stomped, the poor guys. Well, that's it on heavy takedowns and how to deal with the behemoths of the game, even in a heavy tank, and more especially in a medium tank. Hope you guys like what you saw. If you learned something, that is outstanding. That's the purpose of the channel. And as always, we will see you.